Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda, and this is Kevin
How you doing?
with A. Smith Gallery.
And we're here with.
Rajan Dosaj.
All right.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
And today he received the Jurors Award for Animalia back in 2022. Henry Horenstein was the juror for that, and his image was The Last Leaves of Autumn. So we're here today to talk about his a body of work that he's created since then, or probably was working on back then, called Pound the Pavement. And
I'm going to read Rajan's bio. Born and raised in the United States, I spent nearly 20 years in the theater world as a dancer and singer in Broadway musicals such as The Chorus Line, Shenandoah with John Raitt, Hello Dolly with Joanne Worley, just to name a few. Upon my retirement from theater, I settled into the business world, but it wouldn't be long before I was in need of a creative outlet, and the Sebastião Salgado documentary, The Salt of the Earth, rekindled my brief high school interest in photography. Soon the books of Alex Soth, Nancy Rexroth, Sally Mann, Joshua Jackson, and many more were on my shelves, and with a newly purchased camera in hand, I started out on my latest adventure. Naturally, I started with dance portraits and found it incredibly exciting and fulfilling, but soon I ventured into other genres to improve my technique. Whether it was wildlife, street, architecture, portrait, or fine art photography, I was either taking a class or teaching myself about a particular genre in order to become a better photographer. Today, I spend most of my time shooting fine art, portrait, and street photography, but whatever genre I choose to shoot, I love those rare moments when my eyes, through a camera, are able to see and hopefully capture an extraordinary moment. In my short time behind the camera, I've been fortunate enough to have several of my images appear in galleries and competitions across the U.S. and Europe, including Photoplace Gallery, A. Smith Gallery, Praxis Gallery, Black Box Gallery, Southeast Center for Photography, excuse me, PH21 Gallery, Blank Wall Gallery, and Decode Gallery, and the Orange County Fair. All right. So I'll tell you what we're going to do now. Rajan, if you will read or read your statement, I will pull up some of the images. We'll
Okay.
share.
Sounds good. All right. As was already stated, the name of the exhibition, my work is called Pound the Pavement. So here's my artist statement. In preparation for this exhibition, I reviewed many of the street photography images that I have shot over the last 3 or 4 years in and around the Los Angeles area. Many, but not all of the images that I shot during this period often feature a solitary individual going about their business on the streets, working at their job, walking the dog, jogging, or simply at leisure. Focusing on an individual, whether it is street scene or a street portrait, I'm looking to capture some of the characteristics of the subject. How the individual walks, where their eyes are focused, do they smoke, their comfort level in the public, their familiarity with surroundings in which they appear, and so on. The hope is to capture an image that tells the story about the subject and the setting to understand the subject's position in life and the world at large. As I often do, architecture, buildings, or vast landscapes, and so on, are brought into play as I compose the surroundings around the subject. These are details that often complement the image, add to the story, and possibly our understanding of the individual. What you will see in this exhibition are black and white images of the streets, the environment, the moments in their lives of individuals who travel the streets, some with a purpose, some without. Each subject has a unique story that through my camera, through my eyes, a brief and wonderful moment has hopefully been captured. Thank you.
Very, very nice. So, what was it about photography, your early experience with it, that stayed with you and caused you to return to it?
Probably the biggest thing was I wasn't very good at it.
Well,
I didn't.
Common with all of us, right?
I didn't have a handle on it, and everybody in the class knew what they were doing. It seemed like, and it was film back then, and so you don't really know what you have until you develop it.
Right.
And sometimes I thought, oh, I got it, and then I get it and then develop, and I said, no, I didn't get it, and I couldn't figure out what I was missing, and so I kind of left the class liking it, but not really getting what I needed, the information that I needed. I'm not saying the teacher was at fault. It was probably more me. So when I left dance and I was in the business world and I was bored out of my skull, I was thinking about things I should do on however long I have left on this earth. And first I studied web design. That was boring. Then I went to cooking school. I actually liked that, but my kids wouldn't eat the food that I was making. So that was out. And then I saw the movie The Salt of the Earth, and I went, wow, that is amazing what he was doing. And
Right.
I said, I'll never be able to go to those places, those locations, but a camera you can pick up anytime, day or night, and you can go out and shoot things. And even just here in Los Angeles, there's so many places to go. So I thought, well, I'll give that a try. And borrowed my son's cheap Canon camera and went out, did a little bit of shooting. I realized I didn't know much about the digital, so I had to take a class and learn that. And then just moved on and started taking more classes and then just shooting as much as I could. And as I've was stated in my bio, is I just shot everything so I could learn as much as I needed to know as quickly as I could.
So why street photography? What drew you to street photography?
I think that I didn't like it at first, but as I went on and I said, okay, it doesn't require a lot of processing. I had done a bunch of dance photography for like 3 years, 4 years, and it required having strobes and tungsten lights and all that stuff.
Right.
And I got tired of the setup and all the work. And I said, I need something just the opposite, that I can go out and just get a picture, work on it just a little bit, just the opposite of what I was doing, and then present it. That doesn't mean I've eliminated dance photography or any of the others, but it just was something that was a little more, just less work.
Right.
And
Right.
you go out and shoot really quickly and do a bunch of shots, rather than dance shots. You had to sit there and shoot, wait for the strobe to recycle, then shoot again. So this allowed me just to continuously walk up and down the streets and find things and explore areas that I had not been to in Los Angeles. So, yeah.
So has your previous work as a dancer and actor influenced your approach to photography?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It teaches you about composition. When I would see something, I would look and I say, okay, if and when a shot comes up, like if I had a background, this is how it needs to look. Hopefully the person, if they come in, someone comes into the image, then they'll do something interesting. I had to know, I learned from dance, the decisive moment, when to shoot a dancer. You don't shoot them when they're just starting to take off. You got to capture the peak moment. And so I already knew that as a dancer. So when we were doing dance photography, everybody else was trying to figure out what is the peak moment on this move. I already knew that.
Right.
I also had to know what would be exciting in terms of the picture for the person, especially if it was a close-up. If somebody was smoking a cigarette, I had to anticipate when they were going to release the smoke. One time I was out and I didn't have my camera, and there was a guy smoking and he was doing all these interesting designs with his cigarette. I said, oh, why did I have my camera? But I knew exactly what he was doing, and I knew when he was going to do it. Had I had my camera, I'd have had probably 50 photos of him doing different designs with his cigarette smoke. I wouldn't have known that had I not been trained as an actor or as a dancer.
Well, that's
I probably would have just
it's
shot
all
and
about,
said, okay, I got it.
well, it's about
What's that?
timing and hitting your marks. And
I'm sorry, you broke up there.
I said it's about timing and hitting your marks, right? Can you hear me?
You're still breaking.
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, you're breaking up, so I can't.
Yeah, give us a second here. Can you hear me now?
Exactly. Yeah. In dancing, you're moving to counts and stuff like that, but you got to capture the shot when it's hit. So in other words, what I mean by that is, and I'm just going to do a small example. If a dancer is asked to do this, it's not a great shot. But if they do pow like that, then it's a better shot.
Right.
Yeah. And so you want to capture that rather than this. It's a different look and different feel. And this says more than this. It's a
So do
simple
you,
little small little thing.
do you set up in a location and wait for things to happen? How does that work? Or you,
I walk around downtown LA for hours, and I'll look at locations. Sometimes somebody will just be walking by, and they just happen to be an interesting person. One time I was walking, there was this guy sitting there, and he looked at me, he saw my camera, and there was nothing behind it that was interesting, but he said, "You want to take a picture of me?" I said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." And then I found out later I had to buy him lunch. But yeah, that'll cost you. After I finished shooting, I said, "Well, thank you." And he says, "That'll cost you a lunch." And so I bought him lunch. Yeah, so I just walk around and I just look at things. Like here, I sat down. I didn't notice those buildings until a few minutes, and I saw this guy coming, and I said, "Oh, I've got to get just the right angle to get him and the buildings in all the shot, all in the one shot." And I think I only got 2 shots off, but yeah, I walk around, I look for locations to see if there's anything interesting about that, or the people around there and stuff. And I'll talk to them a little bit and find out about them. And I go from there.
yeah, it's interesting too, because most of your subjects are moving. They're not static, which I think that possibly relates back to your dance
Yeah,
background also.
but this guy's hit a
It does.
This guy's
Yeah.
different, yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping they'll do something amazing. Other than just walking like this guy. I mean, this guy was such a character as it was. But you can only do so many stride-bys before you kind of go, okay, I've done that already.
Right.
But the background with him, and the background with his dark jacket and sort of all the different shades on the Disney concert hall, it just turned out to be right. I mean, yeah, he was. I wish I could have gotten a close-up of him. I asked him a question when I finished shooting. I said, hey, and he just looked at me and he kept walking. I don't want to talk to me. Okay.
And his bald head or his white hair works really well too.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I saw him coming 2 blocks before and I had time to set up and figure out what I wanted to do, because I saw him coming and he was walking really slow. And I said, "Oh, this is perfect." So it worked out, but he didn't want to talk to me. I said, "I'm gonna make you a star. Come on."
Yeah.
So, yeah, this one was an abandoned building, and I just kept waiting for somebody to walk by, and I was standing way back, and I peeked around the corner. I saw this guy coming, and I just thought, "Oh, this would look better if I'd shot through the door or into the door." And
Right.
that's just that. Yeah. So that was a rainy day, and that guy was waiting for a ride or something. He stepped out of that doorway, and he was just standing there. And I was in my car sitting, waiting for something. I don't know what I was doing there. And then I just went click, done, 1 shot. That's all I got. And he was gone. So,
yeah, I like the way his body is dark and kind of mimics the door and then the dark space on the right side there.
yeah. Originally he had an umbrella over his head, and I couldn't see his face at all. And so then he put it down because the rain stopped. So I got lucky.
Perfect. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your journey?
I am yeah. It kind of relates to the way I approach photography, which is to shoot different genres and stuff like that. And I keep saying, for me, I still don't feel like I found my voice yet. I haven't found it quite yet. I see other people's work and I understand what they're doing, and I say, I see it, but I'm kind of like this, and I'm trying to wait for this to happen, where I just go, wow, I got it now. I know what I want to do with it. If it's these shots or whatever street or whatever, that I know what the approach should be, how I should shoot it, how I should treat it. And I'm kind of like this right now. And I'm just starting slowly to figure it out. I've been doing this not for a long time. I mean, 12 years in the art world is not really a long time. It's a short time, and so I know some people spend years more than I have been doing it, and to get to that spot where they can say, you know, I've got a statement to make about whatever I'm shooting. And so that's what I'm hoping to do is to get to that point. I hope it's not 10, 15 years from now when I can barely walk, but
So what do you think where are you not going? I think that's interesting you say that. So can you articulate what you think you're not getting?
I'm not clear in my own head as to when I go out and shoot there's no statement when I walk out the door to shoot of what I want to do. I kind of get a collection of pictures and then okay, I put them together and I said, I look at other people's work and I say, I need to get that kind of definition in my shot. Somebody sent me these pictures of this guy who'd only been shooting probably half the time that I've been shooting. And I could clearly see what he was going for. I don't see that in my work quite yet. I see a little bit of it. Like when They Call Me Humphrey, and like that shot, I can see it. I knew, let me explain this shot real quick.
That one.
Which one? The
Got a
one
lot of fun.
previous
This one, the one you're on right now,
Oh, okay.
Out of the mist.
Not that one.
I woke up, I woke up and it was foggy in Los Angeles, which is rare. And I knew there was going to be fog here. And I hopped in my car, woke up really early, hopped in my car, drove over there, and I knew the spot and I picked and I shot it. What was great about the fog is behind all that fog is a huge two freeways. You can see two freeways and a bunch of business buildings, which would have killed the shot had the fog not been.
Right.
And so I knew when I woke up, I said, I know what I want to do. And I raced over there and I did it. That's one of those moments. I knew what I wanted to do. Sometimes I walk at the door and I go, I don't know what I want to do.
And what's fascinating about this is shot in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
This image is shot in Los Angeles.
Yeah, it is. So you missed
it looks like a rural setting.
It does. It's a nature reserve, and you missed all the traffic on the freeways, but in the background. LA's known for one thing, mainly traffic.
Right.
And you just see there's a freeway that's coming down behind here, and it's just coming down, and all you see is the headlights just backed up.
Right.
Even at this time of the day, which was probably 7 o'clock in the morning.
Are you familiar with the street photographer Gary Winogrand?
Yes.
You know, he said something in a video that I watched him talking to some of his students, and he commented on that they needed to go out and shoot with a strategy. And I thought about that, and initially it was like, well, yeah, but I wasn't absolutely certain. But then when you really think about it, it gets back to your personal aesthetic. You know, whatever it is that drives you to create. You know, and also what tends to focus you on some type of subject matter, right?
Right. Yeah.
Is that something you think about? I mean, before you go out, are you doing any kind of planning of any sort?
I do plan. I say I'm going to go to this location here. I'm going to stay there for 2, maybe 3 hours. And a lot of times it'll be nighttime, which downtown is kind of risky. But I plan on, I've seen these other guys work, and I like the way they use the light from wherever it's coming from at night. And I've tried to get that into my work, like this one here. And there's another one, can't remember what it is, but I'll see people's work and I'll say, okay, I've got to work on that. That's what I got to work on. I've got to get that. And I do go out with a strategy, but sometimes it falls apart because you get there and you go, it's just not working. I'm not getting it. I guess that's art. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't.
Street photography is
yeah.
You're kind of like a hunter, right? It's like you're on the hunt.
You are, and you're hoping that you can find something that nobody else has found.
Right.
And like this one, I walked out, I was at the Broad Museum, I had my camera with me, and I walked out, and I was walking towards, this is a Disney concert hall again, and there was this guy just standing there, and he didn't move for about 10 minutes. And I shot it, and the reason it's called, everybody asked me this question, they call me Humphrey, is because I looked at him, I said, well, he's like Sam Spade in the Maltese Falcon.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I should have called him, I should have said, they call me Sam. But I said,
Yeah,
but the Humphrey is a name that you don't hear very often. So I
Right.
said, no, I'm just going to call him Humphrey because he was Humphrey Bogart. So I just said Humphrey. But what was great was the sun was in the right place, and I got that reflection of him in the panels.
yeah, it's very
Um,
nice.
So yeah, that's probably one of the few shots where I said, yeah, that was the moment where I kind of felt like I had found something in my photography. I think that was the starting. I think it was one of the early shots I ever did,
Right,
and
right.
was happy with it. Said, okay, that's kind of the direction I should be going. I should be looking at work small on just a few people rather than a whole large group of people. I have some shots. There's a restaurant down the street called District Market, and there's tons of people in there. I got a few shots, and it looks cool, but I went, I don't know, it didn't quite work for me. So I tend to focus mostly for now just on getting maybe one or just two people in the image at most, unless there's something spectacular happening where I have to capture a few more. So,
Right. Well, this is a beautiful image. That one really works.
thank you.
Well, Rajan, we've really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking with you, and I appreciate you giving me this space to do this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for entering, and congratulations on winning, and we really appreciate you supporting the gallery.
Well, thank you, and I will continue to support. Because I'm going to be contacting you about that class you have coming up in January, the end of January, I think it is. Although I may have to do it as a private, because sometimes the weekends you're doing it at the weekend, and sometimes I have difficulty on the weekends.
Right.
So I'll be in touch with that.
And it's a good feeling to know, right?
It took me a second. It took me a second. That was good. I didn't see that coming. Hey, so
All
you
right,
do
man.
remember. You do remember
Great
that.
talking to you.
Yeah,
You
thank
Thank
you
you so
so much.
Take
much.
care. Thank you.
Take care and good luck with everything.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Talk to
Bye.
you soon. Bye.